Hey there, welcome. So, have you ever been part of one of those big, flashy management initiatives? You know, the ones that promise to change everything, but a year later, not much is different? Yeah, you're not alone. Today, we're going to look past all the buzzwords and dive into a framework for real, lasting improvement that actually works.
I love this quote from Roger Slater because it just hits the nail on the head. It's not about endlessly rehashing past results, right? It's about building a better, smarter process for tomorrow. That's the whole game.
I mean, really think about it. It's a story we all know. There's this huge launch, tons of excitement, and then fizzle. A year goes by and you're right back where you started. So why does this keep happening? We're about to get to the bottom of the one big reason this pattern repeats itself over and over.
To figure out the solution, we first have to really understand the problem. And a huge part of that problem is something I like to call the quality fad trap.
A lot of leaders are just plain tired. They're suffering from what you could call fad fatigue. They've poured tons of money and energy into programs like Six Sigma, Lean, or Kaizen. And look, these are powerful ideas. But what happened? There was this massive rush to get everyone certified, which ended up creating a bunch of experts who didn't have much real-world experience. It turned these powerful tools into little more than a box-checking exercise.
And the cost of this fad fatigue? It was huge. We're talking millions upon millions of dollars spent on training alone. And when you ask executives, many will tell you they saw little, if any, real return on that investment. It created this cycle of hope, followed by disappointment that left a lot of people pretty skeptical.
To really see this in action, let's look at a fascinating case study. A guy named Philip Crosby. This man was an absolute genius at getting the attention of the C-suite. But his system, well, it just didn't have the legs to create lasting change. He was a complete paradox. So if you look here, you can see how the different quality pioneers stacked up. You had Deming focused on variation, Duran on planning, but Crosby's message was a total game changer. He said, quality is free. Now that got people's attention because it spoke the language of the C-suite, profit and loss. It framed quality not as a cost center, but as a profit driver.
So why did it fall apart? Well, because motivation can only get you so far. Slogans like zero defects sound amazing, but they weren't backed by a real, concrete system for continuous improvement. It was all sizzle and not enough steak. As soon as all the easy cost savings were found, the whole thing just ran out of steam.
Crosby's story, and really all of these failed fads, they all point to one critical lesson. They highlight a fundamental principle that so many of them just completely ignored, a set of steps you simply cannot skip. And here it is. This is the big aha moment. The single biggest mistake companies make is they jump straight to the improvement part. They try to build the roof before they've even laid the foundation. It's a recipe for disaster every single time.
And the logic here is just inescapable. It has to flow in this exact order. Think about it. You cannot improve something you don't first control. You can't control something you don't measure. And you absolutely cannot measure something if you haven't even clearly defined what it is in the first place. Trying to do this out of order just doesn't work.
And the consequences of skipping these steps? Oh, they're real. Your teams end up super busy, but they're confusing all that activity with actual progress. The same old problems keep popping up because nobody's dealing with a root cause. And pretty soon, your employees get cynical. Continuous improvement starts to feel a lot more like continuous confusion.
So how do we avoid falling into that trap? Well, there's a framework that gives us a disciplined path forward, one that forces us to build that foundation first. It's called Integrated Process Excellence, or IPE for short. So what is IPE? Really, it's basically the next evolution in this line of thinking. It's a whole management system. It's not just about quality in one little department. No, it's about weaving together your people, your processes, and your technology across the entire business to deliver real, lasting value to your customers. And here's what that framework looks like. It all starts with step one. You got to create a positive environment where change can actually happen. Then you build that foundation we've been talking about. You define the process, you document it, and you communicate it so everyone is on the same page. Like defining the process could just mean making a flowchart for fulfilling a customer order that everyone agrees on. It's only after you have that clarity that you can even think about measuring and controlling it. And what's the last step? Continuous improvement, but this time it's built on solid ground. Now, this framework isn't brand new. Its roots actually go back a few decades. But what makes it so incredibly powerful today is how it plugs right into our modern digital world.
You know, back in the 90s, this was a system that lived in paper binders and clunky old databases. But today, it integrates directly with your live data from your ERP, your CRM, you name it. And the future? That's where it gets really exciting. It's going to use all that data for predictive analytics, helping you spot problems before they even happen.
So what's the real payoff here? It's a living, breathing management system. It gives everyone, from the frontline employee all the way to the CEO, a clear, real-time view of how their work impacts the business. It's about empowering your people, slashing confusion, and building an organization that's not just high-performing, but also resilient.
And all of this brings us to one final, really important question for you to think about. Is your organization just busy, or is it actually truly getting better? Because the answer to that question might just be the difference between surviving and thriving. Thanks for tuning in.